Hello everyone, welcome back to Shubhkaamna Academy. I am Priyanshi Shetty and today we are diving into a super new cool into the world of biology. So have you ever wondered how our body is made up of? Or a tiny seed grow into a tall and giant tree? Or our body organs like heart, stomach and lungs work together like a perfect team? Well, it starts along with the cell, which is the basic unit of our life. So this video is our for the class 6, 7th and 8th for the biology students of which is very interested in the curious to learn about the human body and the nature. So now let's begin our journey and learn about the structural organization of human body and the plants. So in this chapter, we are going to cover the four important topics under the structural organization in plants and animals. That is the cell, basic unit of life, tissues and organs, structural organization in animals, and the structural organization in plants. Next is what is cell? As we have learned in the previous video, is the cell is the basic unit of life. All living things are made up of cell. That might be a unicellular organism or a multicellular organism. In this, I have explained about the animal cell and the plant cell. Here you can differentiate about the animal cells and the plant cell easily. Next is discovery of cell. If we are learning about the cell, we might know that who discovered the cell. So that Robert Hooke, who invented the cell or who discovered the cell, he coined the term cell in the 1665. He discovered that in the slice of cork there is a small compartments, and he named that small compartments like a cell. He named that cell because there he have observed that there is a small compartment like a cell. Therefore, he named it as cells. Now we will learn about the cell development and growth, how it comes, and again how many scientists research on that. So in 1836, Swan and the Scaladian proposed that the idea that the cell is the unit of structure and the function for all the plants and the animals. That cells form the freely similar to how the crystals form. They introduced that the cell is like a very tiny particle, like a crystal form. Then Swan observed that after observation, he come to the conclusion part, and he concluded that the cell is a unit of structure, psychology, and organization in living things. Then the cell retains a dual existence as a distinct entity and a building block in the construction of organisms, and cells formed by free cell formation. And all the organisms are composed of one or more cells. To write up in the exam about the cell theory, you can write this. So for that exam point of view, you need to keep remember all those things. Uh, Next is cells types and organelles. In the last video also we have learned about the cells types. Here I am again recapping in a short. There are two types of cells, that is prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. If you want the difference between this, go and watch the last video. In this prokaryotic cells means what? They do not contain a membrane-bound nucleus or other membrane-bound organelles. Whereas eukaryotic cells, which has a membrane-bound complex nucleus and a membrane-bound organelles which are present. Now, what is meant by organelles? Organelles means organs present in the living organism. So together, many organs called the organelles. The example of prokaryotic cell is bacteria and archaea, and the example of eukaryotic cell is protista, which is amoeba and paramecium, plantae, and the animalia and fungi. Here is the difference between prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell with their diagrams. You can see here the membrane-bound nucleus, it is absent in the prokaryotic cell but present in the eukaryotic cell. So these are the 4 to 5 points which will help you to differentiate between the prokaryotic cell and the eukaryotic cell. Now our next topic is tissue and organs. Now what is tissue? As we have learned that tissue means the group of cells which is grouped together to do a particular job. Like human have 4 kinds of tissue in their body: muscle tissue, nerve tissue, connective tissue, and epithelial tissue. I have shown here one diagram. There you can see that there is a different type of tissue in the human body. Like this in every living organism, you might say that about the kingdom plantae or amoeba, everything. They have their tissues. So basically, every organism have tissues. And what is meant by tissue? Tissue is a group of cells. So we will learn in detail about this type of human tissues in detail in the next subtopic, that is the structural organization in animals. Now, what is the organs? Organs means now the combinations of different tissues that form a structural and functional unit. What is tissue we have seen? We have seen that group of cells form the tissue and the group of tissues now form the organs. We have learned about the level of organization in the human. So same goes here. So any organ that is essential to life is called a vital organ. Without a single organ, body can't perform. And there's some examples like heart, liver, lungs, and the brain. And there are functions like heart pumps the blood throughout the body. Liver removes toxins from the blood. Lungs supplies oxygen to the blood, and the brain control center of the body. Here I have shown in diagram the some important organs of our human body. Now we are learning about the structural organization in animals. In this topic, we are going to learn in detail about the types of tissues in the animal. So we know that animal it is a multicellular organism where a group of similar cells along with the intercellular substance perform a specific function. And such organization is called tissue. There are four important types of tissue in animal, that is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and the nervous tissue. Here below I have mentioned the diagrams where you can easily differentiate the epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. Below, I have mentioned the four to five their functions so that you can easily remember what are their functions. We are going to learn this in detail further. Epithelial tissue. This is the type of tissue which is a formal layer on the free surfaces which either faces a body fluid or the faces the external environment. This type of tissue is compactly arranged and it acts as the inner lining of various body parts such as the visceral organs, blood vessels, or body cavity. This is a very thin layer of extra cellular material in between them. Adjacent cells are connected by means of cell junctions. The cells which are connected to each other, that is known as the cell junctions. This is compactly arranged and it is under the skin layer. You can say that. There are four types of epithelium tissue: squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, glandular epithelium, and ciliated epithelium tissue. You will learn all these types of epithelium tissue in detail in ninth and 10th standard. Then another type is connective tissue. These are the most abundant and widely distributed tissues which link and support the other tissues. All tissues except the blood cells secrete fibers of structural protein called collagen or elastin to provide the elasticity and flexibility. The main function of this type of tissue is to provide the elasticity and the flexibility and to support the other tissues. Like there are types of connective tissue I have shown here, like blood, loose connective tissue, cartilage, bone, dense, adipose. Then third type of tissue is muscular tissue. Muscular tissue, each muscle is made up of long cylindrical fibers which is arranged parallelly to each other. Fibers are composed of fine fibrils called myofibrils. Muscle fibers contract and relax in response to stimulation. As we know that the function of muscle is to contract and relax. So this is only mentioned in the muscular tissue. Just here it is mentioned that these tissue are arranged in cylindrical fibers parallelly. So there are three types of tissues: muscles tissue, that is smooth muscle, skeletal muscle, and the cardiac muscle. Now fourth type of tissue is the nervous tissue, and the last important tissue in the animal organization. The, the unit of neural system is neuron. Neurological cell protects and supports the neuron. When neuron gets stimulated, electrical impulses are generated that travel along the plasma membrane. The tissue organized to form organs, which in turn associate to form an organ system in multicellular organism. Please go through this diagram. This diagram is important. This type of tissue, it is neuron tissue, and it is this passes the nerves, or the you can say that impulses stimulation to that particular organ or to the particular part of body. Next is structural organization in plants. Now this is all about animal organization. Now we will see about the plants organization. Just like animals, plants also have a proper structure which helps them to grow and to make food and to survive. Now let's understand how plants build from tiny cells to big organs like roots and leaves. In the last video, we have seen about the levels of organization in human. Now here we are going to see the levels of organization in plants. Like we know the levels like cell, then after cell tissue, after tissue organ, after organ system, and after organ system organism. So what are their function? It is the smallest unit of plant life. An example is parenchyma cell. Tissue again group of similar cells. Example is xylem and phloem. Organ group of tissues doing a function. Again, the example is root, stem, and leaf. In organ system, the plants parts working together. Example is shoot system, root system. Organism, whole plant, mango plant, and rose plant are those examples of the organism. Now, plant tissue. Plants do have a higher level of structure that is called a plant tissue, like animal tissue. Plant tissue system can be defined as a functional unit which connects to all organisms of plant. Like in animal, plant tissue has their functional unit which helps them to connect all the organs of the plant. Now, what are the organs? Organs like leaf, stem, root. Like animal tissue, plant tissue system is also grouped in various based on their functions. This there is the three type of tissue I have shown in the image, that is the dermal tissue, ground tissue, and the vascular tissue. Then types of plant tissue. Basically, plant tissue is divided into two, that is permanent tissue and meristematic tissue. Permanent tissue again divided into two types: simple permanent tissue, complex permanent tissue. You can see here that permanent tissue, simple permanent tissue again divided into parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Complex permanent tissue again divided into xylem and phloem. Here I have added some types and you can say its functions in the xylem and phloem, which will help you to learn. And meristematic tissue again divided into apical meristement, intercalary meristem, and the lateral meristem. So first we are going to learn about the meristematic tissue. What is meant by the meristematic tissue? The group of cells which have ability to divide. Means they are getting divided very fastly and they have ability to divide. These are the small cuboidal densely packed cells which keeps on dividing to form a new cells. Then capable of stretching, enlarging, and differentiated into other types of tissue as they mature and give rise to the permanent tissue. Basically, because of this meristematic tissue, the growth of plant occurs. And this is cuboidal densely packed cells. Here are some characteristics I mentioned. So you can go through these characteristics. Like it has very small cells within cells walls. Cells have large nuclei. Cells have very small vacuoles and they lack intercellular space. Now, what does mean by vacuoles? Vacuoles means where they keep their food, or from where they can generate the food for the process of photosynthesis, you can say. Then remain young forever and divide actively throughout the life of the plant. In plants, these tissues are found in the tips of the root stems, nodes of the stems, buds, in between the xylem and phloem, under the epidermis of dicotyledonous plants, and also producing the branch roots. Now, the kinds of meristematic tissue, as we have seen, that is apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and the lateral meristem. In image, you can see easily and identify what are the apical, intercalary, and lateral, and their with their location. Apical meristems, these are the found at the tip of the stem, and during the cell division, this meristem helps in cellular enlargement and also influence the shape of the mature plants. Then lateral meristems, these are the found along the sides of the roots and the stems, and they play a vital role in increasing the width or the diameter of the stems and the roots. And intercalary meristem, they are found at the basis of young leaves and internodes, and they are mainly responsible for further lengthening of the stems and the leaves. So basically, these three are the important for the growth of the plant, whether in the terms of their division of the cells, their growth, their diameter, and their width of the plant. Next type of tissue is the permanent tissue. The tissue which is derived from the meristematic tissue is known as the permanent tissue, which have this type of tissue have lost their ability to divide as they have attained their maturity form. Meristematic tissue is like they grow simultaneously, means rapidly, their tissues, but the permanent tissue is like they are like in the mature stage, which do not have the ability to divide. The kinds of permanent tissue is simple permanent tissue and the complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue are the tissues which are similar in function and are also called simple because they are composed of similar type of cells which have common origin and function. On the other hand, complex permanent tissue are the tissues which are composed of two or more types of cell but contribute to a common function, are called the complex tissues. Now the types of simple permanent tissue is the parenchyma. Here is the image of parenchyma. They are the general cells of plants which are circular in shape and have a very thin wall. They are present in the plant cells. They have very large vacuoles and are frequently found in all roots, stems, leaves, and in fruits. Parenchyma cells in synthesizing and storing the synthesized food products also control plants' metabolism like photosynthesis, respiration, and protein synthesis. And they also play a vital role in wound healing and regeneration of plants. So basically, on the from the image, you can write their characteristics. So just you have to keep remember the image. Now, second is collenchyma. Here again, it is the diagram I have shown. Like collenchyma, specialized parenchyma tissue which are found in all green parts. Collenchyma cells are elongated with unevenly thick cells walls. They are alive during the cell maturity, and collenchyma controls the function of young plants. Then third is the sclerenchyma. They are the rigid, non-living cells. They have thick, lignified secondary walls and the lack protoplast at maturity. They provide strength to the tree, and the sclerenchyma cell also provides a support to the plants with the help of hardening agent present in their cells. There is again two type of sclerenchyma cells, that is sclerites and the fibers. So here is the diagram. From the diagram, you can mention the characteristics. Then the types of complex permanent tissue. There are two types of complex permanent tissue, that is xylem and phloem. The term xylem, which is derived from the Greek word, which is meaning wood. And it is a dead with hollow cells which consist of only cell wall. And it play a vital role in transporting water and dissolved nutrients from the roots to all parts of the plant. And it helps the nutrients in upward direction, transporting the nutrients in the upward direction, that is from the root to stem. And it is also called the water conducting cells, while the phloem is called the food conducting cells or the sugar conducting cells. You should know about those difference between the xylem and the phloem. And then is the phloem, and the phloem is derived from the Greek word that is meaning bark. These are the live cells which lack nucleus and other organelles. It helps to transport dissolved organic food materials from the leaves to all parts of a plant, and it also helps to transport the nutrients in the downward direction, that is from leaves to the different parts of the plant. In the xylem, it is from the upward direction, that is from root to stem, but in the phloem, it is from downward direction, that is from leaves to the different parts of the plant. So you need to keep remember all these characteristics from it. And that's wrap up for this topic, structural organization in plants and animals. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got to know how it starts from the single cell, that is basic unit of our life. If you like this video, please hit the bell icon, subscribe the channel and share with your friends. I am Priyanshi Shetty. Bye for now. Keep learning and stay curious. Thank you.